Video 1.1, Finding the Subject. Follow these steps to find the subject of a sentence. 1. Find the verb or verb phrase. Hopefully you can do that, but remember, sometimes it won't always be an action word. You might have to look for those linking verbs like is, was, or were. 2. Ask who or what before the verb. Try to find out who or what is doing the action. So in the sentence, the girl in the front row plays volleyball, there's an action word in there, plays. So we know that's the verb. If you ask who or what, you can find out that girl is the subject. The girl plays volleyball. 3. Remember, there and here are never subjects, and prepositional phrases never contain the subject. So we can cross those out when we're trying to find the subject. Also remember these tips. To find the subject of a question, turn it into a statement. The question, how old is your brother, can be turned into, your brother is blank old. And then it's easier to find the subject because it's at the beginning of the sentence. So brother is the subject. Also remember, in a command or request, the subject is the understood you. So in the sentence, please be quiet, the subject is actually the understood you. You, please be quiet. This is true even if a person's name is used in the command or request. So the sentence, Jason, please be quiet, the simple subject is still the understood you. Jason, you, please be quiet. Let's try a practice test together to see if you can figure out how to find the subject and verb. I will circle the verb and highlight the simple subject. I will also take you through the steps and cross out things you don't need to worry about when you're looking for the subject and verb. So hopefully you can do this on your own later. Sentence 1. During the Middle Ages, there were many popular stories about King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table. So, finding the verb first, unfortunately, it's not an action word, but it is a very common linking verb, and hopefully you found it, and it's were. And then if you ask who or what were, or who or what was, it's a little tricky because we can see there comes before the verb, but that's actually not the subject because there and here are never the subject. And if you back up again to see during the Middle Ages, if you think that's going to contain the subject, it doesn't because it's a prepositional phrase. So we can cross all of that out. So we need to look further in the sentence and we can see what were there. Well, we see that it was popular stories that were there. So stories is the simple subject, and the simple version of this sentence would be stories were there. Sentence 2. The legendary King Arthur may have been based on a Celtic war chief of the 5th and 6th centuries. If we look for the verb in this sentence, it's kind of a weird one, but it is an action verb and it's based, but it has some helping verbs with it. So we are going to include those. So may have been based is the verb phrase. And if you back up from there and ask what or who may have been based, it's a pretty simple way to find the subject of King Arthur. King Arthur is who may have been based. So King Arthur is the subject. Sentence 3. Among the earliest written stories about King Arthur were those by the 12th century writer Wace. First we look for the verb, and this has the common linking verb were again. And then if we ask who or what were, first don't get confused by the prepositional phrase at the very beginning. So among the earliest written stories about King Arthur can all be crossed out. And we find that those is the subject. Those were. Number 4, can you name any of the Knights of the Round Table? This is a question, so let's turn it into a statement. We can say you can name. That makes it a little easier to find first the verb, which is can name. We'll include the helping verb. And the subject is the beginning of the sentence, you. Good luck finding the subject.